from becoming the first person to win the heavyweight championship on his first try. Jon Jones is also about to make financial history. He's likely the second highest paid athlete in UFC history now. At least that's what his agent Richard Schaefer has been saying. In 2021, Johnny Bones and UFC president Dana White had a public fight about his fight pay. Apparently, Dana said that Jones wanted $30 million to fight during their very public contract dispute, but Jon made a statement on Twitter to say that it wasn't true. Shortly after that, Jones hired Richard Schaefer, who was well known in the boxing world. Schaefer, who was known for promoting the Golden Boy boxing team, took on the job of negotiating on the fighter's behalf. Can you believe Jones is about to become the second highest paid fighter in the UFC, right behind Conor McGregor? And yeah, it means that he's now the second highest paid heavyweight fighter in the history of the promotion. So, if he's reached that level now, then who is he leaving behind?
And we see here that Jones is throwing big overhand left fight was these uppercuts. This is where DC is.
If it's true that he's the second highest earner after Conor McGregor, he makes much more than Israel Adesanya, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Kamaru Usman, and Jorge Masvidal, even though reports say that Adesanya made an estimated $1 million for his UFC 281 fight against Alex Pereira. That may not tell the whole story. Daniel Cormier, who was a two-time UFC champion, says that Izzy made a lot more than that. It was later revealed that he made between $5 million and $7 million for his fights. On the other hand, McGregor seems to make between $15 and $20 million per fight. Khabib Nurmagomedov was making $10 million per fight at the time, which made him the second highest earner in the UFC. So it looks like Jon is going to make between $10 and $20 million. Dana White said that the fighter had signed a deal with the company for 8 fights. I'm not sure about the exact facts and figures about his salary yet, but it looks like he'll be making more than ever. This makes us question, exactly how much will he be earning now? The fighter has signed a new 8-fight deal with the UFC, which means he won't be leaving and could have a long career as a heavyweight. Richard Schaefer also said that Jones has not signed a new contract. Instead, he signed an amendment to the contract he already had, which gave him 8 more fights as a light heavyweight. So, he'll make more than Brock Lesnar did for his fight against Mark Hunt at UFC 200, which was $2.5 million. Speaking of rich guys in the MMA world, Randy Couture.
Randy is a Greco-Roman master. Lesnar under. Oh, hand with the right hand.
Can you imagine this guy is worth $17 million? I couldn't possibly think of earning that much, even if I sold everything I owned. Randy used to train in both Greco-Roman wrestling and mixed martial arts. Not just this, but he used to be a sergeant in the US Army and is now an American actor. So the fact that he fought in a record 16 title fights and won 3 heavyweight and 2 light heavyweight UFC titles in his MMA career is insane. This next player is worth a lot, simply because he's won some huge tournaments. Wanderlei Silva. With a net worth of $20 million. He's an MMA artist who used to fight for the UFC in the United States and the Pride Fighting Championships in Japan. He won both the Old Pride Middleweight Championship and the 2003 Pride Middleweight Grand Prix Tournament. He fought for Bellator MMA in both heavyweight and light heavyweight fights. Other than this guy, there's someone else we know who fights for multiple federations, Fedor Emelianenko.
Fedor Emelianenko has only gone to the judges' scorecards.
Now tasted the power of Fedor Emelianenko.
Emelianenko is worth $20 million, probably because he's a heavyweight MMA, judo, and sambist fighter. Wow, talk about being an all-rounder. He fights for both Bellator MMA and the Rizin Fighting Federation, and has won many sports competitions, including the MMA Pride Fighting Championships. The guy began his MMA career in 2020 and won his first 4 fights. He's won a lot of MMA awards and was rated as the best MMA fighter of the 2000s in a lot of magazines. And now we have a guy who's also worth $20 million, Tito Ortiz.
Look at how long he is. Nice.
For Alberto.
A lot of you guys probably already know him. If not as an MMA artist, then maybe as the well-known politician that he is. During his time in the UFC, the guy became one of the best wrestlers in the world. He finally won the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship, but he later switched to Bellator MMA. Now, let's discuss our first ever Hall of Famer on this list, BJ Penn.
The Prodigy!
Definite experience factor for Uno there. Gotta work that jab.
With his net worth being $22 million, BJ Penn used to fight in the Ultimate Fighting Championship as a mixed martial artist. Penn has competed in the heavyweight, openweight, middleweight, welterweight, featherweight, and lightweight weight classes. He was the first person from the United States to win a gold medal in jiu-jitsu at the World Championship, and in 2015, became the first person to enter the UFC Hall of Fame's Modern Era wing. Isn't that amazing? So speaking of impressive wins, our next fighter has tons of them. Brock Lesnar.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Little shot, and Brock goes right to the midsection and out.
Brock Edward Lesnar is worth $25 million. I've known him since he was in the WWE, where he won the overall world championship 8 times. And although he's had some success in the NFL and UFC, not as impressive as the others here. But he's won every major heavyweight title in the NCAA, the WWE, and the UFC. He joined the WWF, and at the age of 25, won the WWE Championship and became pretty famous in the sport. This next player, let's just say a lot of you guys already call him the best MMA welterweight of all time, George St. Pierre. The total amount of money he's worth is $30 million. And not only was he an awesome MMA fighter, but he's now an actor. Why do these guys switch careers so drastically? I don't get it. But oh well, I guess it's working out, so good for them. Oh, and I forgot to mention, he was so great that between 2006 and 2008, he was the UFC welterweight champion 3 times. And if that wasn't enough, the man went and won the belt twice and the interim title once. Now we've got another Hall of Famer, guys, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
But he ate another left hand, now working on a guillotine.
From Nurmagomedov there.
$40 million. These numbers just keep on getting bigger and bigger. Khabib used to compete in the UFC's lightweight division for MMA and was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame on June 30th, 2022. And yes, he's now a promoter for the sport, but so is the guy we're going to talk about next, Rorion Gracie.
His left hand over.
With a net worth of $50 million, Rorion Gracie is a Brazilian writer, producer, lawyer, and co-founder of the UFC. He's a well-known figure in MMA and is known for promoting the Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style and has a 9th degree red belt in mixed martial arts. But even this guy couldn't beat the man I'm about to mention next, Conor McGregor. With his net worth being $200 million, Conor is an Irish mixed martial artist who won 2 lightweight titles and was a featherweight champion in the UFC. In fact, I think he was the main reason why a lot of us bought tickets to the 5 most popular UFC pay-per-view events. At UFC 228, his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov was the MMA event for which the most PPVs were sold. So, these are all the reasons why Jon Jones is now probably the 2nd highest paid athlete in UFC history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.